was paralyzed for
Well,
3 months.
that big.
They tie or they're GoPro.
All right, Mike.
You don't get stuck in my tooth now.
Regular meeting of the Navasota City Council is called to order on this 27th day of June, 2022 in council chambers. Let the record show all council members are present with the exception of Mr. Gessner and Mr. Holt. Thank you for being here tonight, and we ask that you put your cell phones in the silent mode. And visitors, if you would please sign in if you wish to speak under visitors' remarks or to a specific agenda item. Please fill out the form found in back, state your name and address at the podium, as we must document all meeting business and remarks limited to 3 minutes. Tonight's invocation will be led by Pastor Mac Vaughn, then followed by the pledges.
Let's pray. Oh, gracious God, we come this evening with thankful hearts once again for all of the wonderful staff that we have in this city, the creativity of each and every one of them, as well as their dedication. We thank you for all the first responders, from fire to EMS to the police department and sheriff's office. God, we just ask that your refreshing spirit just rest upon each and every one of us this evening, that we might come together and treat each other with grace and respect. We thank you, oh God, for your many blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Remarks of visitors, we have Laurie Kubrick. Aubrey, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I need to state my name again.
Yes, and your address.
Okay, it's Laurie Obry, Laurieoure. My address is 511 Minnie Street. Mayor and council members, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. In February 2020, I was walking my dog, who at the time was 7 months old, down Washington. When I got to Washington and Leon, 3 dogs jumped the fence and went after my puppy. I was able to grab the collar of the alpha dog and restrain her, thus causing the other dogs to stand down. I decided to walk in the park by the VFW, as all dogs are supposed to be leashed. I enjoyed my walks with the exception of a few unleashed dogs, until I came across an older woman with a German Shepherd mix that is very aggressive. She is barely able to restrain her dog. At one point, she was walking with her dog off leash, and I have never returned. I decided once again to try walking my dog in town. On June 6th, I was walking down McAlpine when out of nowhere, a dog attacked my dog. I blocked her and ended up with a sprained knee. The postman made his way to the porch to attempt to let the people know they needed to get their dog. She charged him. He was able to safely leave the porch. During this time, I am on the call with 911 and am told all officers are on another call. I told her I could not take 2 steps without the dog charging. She was unconcerned. I repeat, she was unconcerned. The postman got between me and the dog, and I was able to safely leave. I stopped by City Hall and told the dispatcher I was the one who made the call. No one followed up on a 911 call. I have come to the conclusion there is not a safe place to walk in Navasota. On May 3rd, 2016, Antoinette Brown was leaving her home for work when she was attacked by a pack of dogs. She was bitten over 100 times. The police who were dispatched said they had never seen such an attack on a person. It looked like a shark attack. Part of her tricep was bit off. She died 7 days later. Until this happened, the city of Dallas did nothing about their roaming dog issue. It was not a priority. It took the brutal death of Miss Brown before the city took action. Is that what is going to happen here? Does the city of Navasota have to have someone die before the issue is addressed? It appears so. There's a lot of money going to city improvements. Downtown is being renovated, sidewalks are being put in, but not one dime is going to animal control to resolve this issue. It will be a sad day when someone is seriously injured or killed, but maybe then the city of Navasota will address this issue. Thank you.
Item 4, staff report. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Item 4, Mr. Weeks.
Mayor and council, we got an introduction of new city employees. It's Johnson. You want to come on up here, and Jennifer, if you want to come up and introduce.
Mayor Miller, council members, I would like to introduce our new City of Navasota employee. Her name is Bobbiana Tovar. And today is her first day at work. She's hired on as our Public Works Administrative Assistant. She was raised in Navasota, graduated from Navasota High School, the class of 2011. And she previously worked from the BBV Compass Bank here in Navasota. So we'd like to welcome her to the city of Navasota.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm excited she's here.
Don't go far, Jennifer. Mayor and council, next item, have an update Jennifer's going to provide for TechStock crosswalk project, and also need to get some feedback from y'all as well.
Hello, again, Jennifer Reyna, Director of Utilities. I'm here to give you hopefully one of the last update for this project. As you can see, there's still a little fencing around the tree wells on Farquhar and Washington. Hopefully by Friday, the Fuquay Constructions are going to be putting the tree grates around the trees. And then there's a little electrical things that they have to fix to get that to be, to get the tree grates around the trees. What we need to know is, what would you like to be in the tree well? Would you like grass, vines, just mulch, pavers? So some direction you need to give us on what you would like to see in that spot. Over there where you see the grass is on the plans, on the TxDOT plan. So that's why there's grass there. After the project is over, if you like to see the grass stay, we can keep the grass, but it's just upkeep. If you like pavers to be in there, that would be something that would kind of go with the rest of the project. So that's some direction that we would need from you guys on what you would like done in that area. Where you see the crosswalk, they have a change order. They are getting that approved. They have to put a railroad crossing warning on the before the crosswalk. So they're going to paint that, basically letting everybody know you cannot stop and block the crosswalk while there's a train. So that's what they're going to paint before the crosswalk.
That's on the pavement.
Yes, that will be on the ground.
What is that saying? What does that look like?
RXR.
So it doesn't tell them they can't stop on the sidewalk.
So
It
it's
just
a
tells them the train
warning
track is
saying that
coming.
there's a tracks up there. I don't
There
know
was
why I
one
needed to do
there
the air thing, but if that helps.
Can you spell that for me again?
RXR. So that's kind of where we're at on the project. We will do dirt and mulch where the 2 tree wells are until we just do a finalize on what you like to be there, to get all that away from there for the upcoming events. So we'll have that done for you if you like. Also, you see the drainage metal there?
Yeah.
So the question would be, will it be painted? We will not paint that, and there's a reason why.
Okay.
Okay, so over time, it's rust rated, and so what that means is over time, it's gonna look like a old leather, like the storm drain covers.
Mhm.
That's how they start out. They're rusty looking, but over time, they finish with that
Get a
brown.
patina.
It patinas. That's
Yes.
the proper term,
So-
patina.
And the reason
Yeah.
being, it helps with slipping.
I'm glad to hear that because I was like, I don't like that color.
So
Yeah.
that's why it looks like that, but
It will turn beautiful as
it will
ages.
turn. There's
I
a
love that.
process.
Yeah.
Um,
But we had
rustic.
more rain, maybe.
I was gonna say, we
Yeah.
haven't gotten rain. in
Oh,
four
yeah,
months,
any rain
so.
yet. Yeah.
So that too, if you have people ask, there's also that on Railroad Street on the sidewalks as well with the drainage. So that's why it's not going to be painted, because over time it will look like,
And then it's not something that has to be maintained.
right, we won't have to maintain it. So that's why that's going to stay the way it is. And over time it will look better. So far as signs, the signs are completed. They have all that up. So just some minor things that needs to be taken care of, but all that fencing and cones, we should have that away by the Friday. Sure. Any questions,
Council,
suggestions?
The questions that we have is, because staff thinks the ground cover, the vine ground covering look really good. It's easier to maintain.
That's what was there before.
Yeah, I think that's what was there before.
That's what I
Uh,
said.
Isn't that what, near the visitor center,
Yeah.
that's like a ground cover that's.
Mhm.
that's
It's
vining.
throughout
I like
the
that.
downtown.
That's beautiful.
So are you wanting after do you want where the tree wells are and where the grass is after the project is completed? Do you want the vines there or
I think with
pavers?
the tree well, I mean, with the grate, you don't need anything under it.
Is there space that's gonna be next to the grate still? You'll still have an area
Oh.
even next to the tree grate
Oh,
that's
okay.
gonna need something.
Okay, then I just do the ground cover.
So the vines?
That's just
Yeah,
my
vines.
opinion.
Okay,
So the place there where the grass is, as
But-
Jennifer was talking.
Yeah.
There are gonna be an additional cost for if we want to put pavers there.
Okay.
And so we could we'll get some estimates for that. And that would that's totally unrelated to this project because the project had grass on there. I wasn't aware that grass was on there. And so,
We'll I believe that should just be pavers because
where the grass is now?
Yeah.
that grass is right there.
the grass
That
will
big
have to be
section?
mowed and then you'll have, you might have.
So that's something we can look at as a add-on afterwards, after we're finished.
After the project is finished.
Is that, I mean, is that something that the Pretty City Committee would want to beautify?
I don't know if they would be able to put the pavers down. I think
No, I
that's
mean, not
some,
the pavers. I mean, if that was something that we would want to beautify.
oh,
Well, if there's grass there, you gotta have some irrigation so it
Yeah.
doesn't die.
Right.
And then that's even more cost.
And we don't have that there yet. That's not.
there's
okay.
irrigation,
Yeah,
yes.
there's
So
irrigation.
there
that
is
area,
irrigation.
the whole area, I mean, I asked Gary if he wanted to mow it every other weekend. He said he might. It's just a joke. Gary Fuquay. It's just, we want it to look nice, but the upkeep, we don't want costs and time to upkeep.
Well, I think this
A small
looks pretty,
section.
it looks a little just weird. It's just out of a place whenever you drive through it. But what I'm thinking is with so many people bringing their animals downtown, that may be the
That
potty
is gonna be
location.
the
Yeah,
the
that's,
So-
potty pad location.
Yeah,
I mean,
So
that's
I-
probably where it's gonna be.
which is not the best place, right,
No,
on
no,
Washington.
no, I
So
wouldn't want that.
that's what we were thinking too. So we'll get a cost estimate for you and then come back. I'll probably put in the Friday memo about
So
that.
just to clear, you want pavers where the grass is and then the vines at the 2 tree wells.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
And then we'll also be putting together a ribbon cutting for this project. And so we'll see what Gary's plans are and see if we'll get council, Gary, along with TxDOT, see if we'll reach out. In fact, we got a meeting with TxDOT tomorrow, mention to them about it. And try to get everybody organized for maybe July, sometime in July.
Okay.
Mayor, also real quick, Jose is going to come and give us an update on projects. I know that you had asked about that. I included some information in the Friday memo, but that way the public can also know about the street projects.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. I'm gonna make it real quick on this one. I think it's a really cool what we're doing with this project. What you see on the background, you see a lot of streets that's gonna be done on this project. And based on our last conversation, I know Councilman Fall, you mentioned about make sure that none of these roads are gonna be on the CIP. There was a couple of them in there. We were able to catch them on a review. We took them out of there, out of this project to Nolan. They say there was nothing wrong with it. We're not gonna fix it, but because every street that we review, we actually went by it and looked at it, and they have like a little spot repairs that needs to be done, and that's why we have it on there. There's a really cool project I've been working with Gessner on this one. What you see right there is all the streets from 2012 that we did before. the CIP project was the streets that they're completely destroyed and have a bad infrastructure. So we have no, there's one of the greatest projects that we've been done before. So this is the streets that we've been doing all the way since 2012. They have a asphalt, but some of the deterioration is already there. And because we got the CIP, we won't be able to put any money into a street project no more within the 5 or 7 years. Well, what this is going to do is going to protect these streets for another 7 or 8 years. This might be streets going to be on the next CIP, but I'm going to give you a good example. West Virginia. If we don't do anything about West Virginia for now, we're probably going to lose it. And eventually, with another 2 or 3 years, we might have to pulverize it and redo it again. Doing this sealing is going to cost a lot of less money, and it will protect them for a couple more years. The good thing about chip seal is you're only paying an estimate of $1.50 per square yard. If you're looking at repulverize or redo the whole street, it's $22, $23 per square yard. So it's a big difference between what we do now and then. Like I said, we review one by one, and we feel like we need do this project, what we call a 2021, 2022 project, which is this what you have right now. And we completed the review, and now we send it back to Gessner. They are making the changes that we saw. We went and measured the areas where it needs to be. There's some areas that are base failure, but the street is still good. There's just some areas, so we're gonna dig that out 8 inches, put 6 inches of stabilized limestone base back, 2 inches of hot mix, and then just chip seal the whole street. So you wouldn't even tell that it was a street cut there. But that's kind of where we are right now. He's gonna, whenever he send it back to us, I don't have a right price or anything for it yet, but we'll definitely bring it to you guys as soon as it's done. So you can basically give us a blessing and continue with it. But there's, I think it's a really good project going on to protect a lot of these streets on this project.
Their projected start time.
We should be done. He said 2 weeks to complete everything, and as soon as that's done, we go into the bidding process, which will be another 2 weeks. So I'm looking at probably middle of June, probably the beginning of August. We should be starting this project. And because it's chip seal, it don't take long to get it done. There's nothing else. We do have a cemetery road. It was requested by them, so that's going to be a pulverizing and concrete pads over at the August Hall Park. But I mean, it's only 2 little sections. It's going to be pulverized and redone, but everything else it shouldn't take longer to get it done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. There you go, sir.
That's it.
Any reports, boards and commissions from council? I'm just going to mention and promote that this Friday we have the Freedom Festival. And of course, we want to encourage everybody to come on out and enjoy all that's going on downtown during the day. But beginning at 6, the parade will come through town from Brosig, headed west on Washington, and lining up around after 5 on Brosig. So we want everybody to come out. That's whether you're riding a bike or walking or in a car. Hopefully it won't be quite as hot as it's been in the past, but I think just antique cars, anything red, white, and blue, come on out. We want to have a big parade again. We have folks that come from miles around to see it. And then
Can I ask about that?
yeah.
So just thinking about the direction it's going down Washington, I was thinking that we might need to block the parking spots in front of Off the Mat. Are y'all thinking about that too?
Yes.
Just because, okay.
for their support of this to bring it to Navasota. So make sure and come out and enjoy the afternoon or the afternoon and evening. There'll also be, I confirmed today that we'll have the water slide will be back for the kids in the bounce house. I saw plenty of kids enjoying that slide here at the Sounds of Summer on Friday night. So is there a weight limit on that
I was
water
wondering the
slide?
same. I was thinking I could
There
ride
might
that
be-
thing. It was hot.
There might be some big kids that want to go down this.
I think we had one big kid ride
Hey,
it.
quiet from the audience. All right. Item 5 is to conduct a public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment and testimony regarding a voluntary annexation request submitted by Mariah Caskey, power of attorney for Anthony Canine, for a 2.875 acre tract of land in the Daniel Tyler Survey, A55, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas. We'll open the hearing at 6:28.
Mayor, City Council, good evening. Lupe Diosdado, Development Services Director. So early meeting this month in June, City Council approved the resolution setting this public hearing date for the annexation of the 2.87 acres by Anthony Canine. So this, all the public hearing notification processes have been completed, including sending a letter to the school district, ad in the local paper, as well as placing an ad, a public hearing notice ad in our city website. Haven't gotten, or staff hasn't received any feedback about the annexation. Mrs. Perry is here tonight. I'm assuming for this item too. So if y'all have any questions, myself or Ms. Perry can answer.
I do not. Anyone else wish to speak to this item? Okay.
All right, thank you.
We'll close the hearing at 6:29. Item 6, discussion, consideration, and possible action on first reading of ordinance 997-22, approving a voluntary annexation request submitted by Mariah Caskey, power of attorney for Anthony Canine, for a 2.875 acre tract of land in the Daniel Tyler Survey, A55, Navasota, Grimes County, Texas.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the first reading ordinance 997-22.
A second.
Motion by Mr. Fultz, second by Ms. Peterson, to approve on first reading ordinance 997-22. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, item carried.
I was
And
reading.
we do barely have a quorum.
I will participate.
Item 7, presentation, discussion, and possible action on the second reading of ordinance 996-22, designating the alleyway located between West Washington Avenue and West McAlpine Street in the H&TC RR Edition, Block 83, as a one-way alleyway, allowing northbound traffic only, prohibiting through traffic and prohibiting parking in the alleyway except temporarily for delivery vehicles only, authorizing the installation and placement of signage.
Second. Just a question. Is there any way to make that where if there's an emergency use that it could be like a train derailment or something like that, that it could be officers could maybe instruct people that they could go both ways down that alleyway?
We could say temporarily for delivery vehicles and emergency situation or something. I don't know.
I think that an officer under state law would have the ability to
To do
to
that.
direct, traffic in an.
But if he wasn't
emergency.
there, because they're all probably going to be working on the train derailment, does somebody else have the authority to change that in an emergent situation?
I think that the office, you could set up barricades. Like a temporary detour or something like that. I mean, you have the exclusive control over the streets in the city. City does,
Public
so,
works staff, right?
correct. And so I think in an emergency,
City staff could make those.
yeah, because, I'm debating whether or not you would need to have specific expression of that in the ordinance. And in an emergency situation, I don't think you're gonna have to have that. We could add that. We could add some language saying, in the case of an emergency, in case I just think it's not needed.
Okay.
Um,
We had an incident just last week where
I
the,
will tell you that whether it was one way on Railroad or not, that
People were just
everyone was
going, yeah.
going the opposite direction on that because the train was there and that was the only way through.
Right.
So everyone was going the wrong way on Railroad, which happens all the time anyway. Yeah. Watch long enough.
yeah.
I think, if there's an emergency like that, you're gonna have, the emergency response, you're gonna have police, fire, that sort of thing, and the police are gonna reroute the traffic. And then I think the barricades could be installed in accordance with what the police are saying would be the appropriate way to deal with the traffic in that situation. That's.
I'm just making sure that there is the ability for us to use that still as a two-way or however we need it in an emergent situation, so that people who might be upset about it would know that we could change it if we needed to for a situation that needed the change.
Mhm. I think you can without, in my opinion, that can happen without any sort of expression in the ordinance that says so. I mean, there may be things that are, when you look at what, certainly a train derailment would be an emergency situation where you had to reroute traffic.
Broken down.
What if you had
train.
an event downtown where you wanted to change it?
Right.
That's probably a different story. Although police, I think, by statute, they have the ability to reroute
The police chief
traffic.
could do that.
You have to control the direction of a police officer to deal with the situation that exists. So, yeah, in my opinion, I think you could still handle that without changing the ordinance.
Okay. I'll move to approve the second reading in 996-22.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Court, second by Ms. Peterson to approve on second reading ordinance 996-22. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, item carries. Item 8, presentation, discussion, and possible action concerning the appointment of a city staff member pursuant to Article 5, Section 1C of the Navasota City Charter, serve as the administrative officer authorized to perform duties of the city manager in the city manager's absence or inability to perform his duties and related issues.
Mayor and council. So article, as you said, Article 5, Section 1C of the city charter states that council, in the absence or the inability of myself to perform my duties, the council by majority vote may designate a qualified administrative officer to perform those duties during my absence or disability. And just for clarification for y'all as well as the public, I'm not planning on being absent or being going on vacation or being somewhere where I'm not able to do my duties. However, I want to make sure that we are covered in case I do get run over by a train or something like that. But back on October 11th, council took action to designate Sean Myatt as that person. As you well know, Mr. Myatt accepted the police chief's position for City of Belle Meade, and his last day was with the city was June 15th. And therefore, making a recommendation to council to designate our fire chief, Jason Koski, as that representative in my absence or inability to perform my duties.
It's not just because he has the same first name.
Yeah.
That's
Jason
correct.
said I talked to Jason and he said.
We're gonna-
That's scary.
Yes, he's sitting as far back as I've ever seen him
Right.
sit.
Why aren't you sitting?
Why
up
are you
here?
sitting in your spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the appointment of Jason Koski to serve to serve as administrative officer authorized by the city manager, with his absence or inability to perform his duties and related issues.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Cool, second by Ms. Peterson to appoint Jason Kowski to perform the duties in the city manager's absence per the city charter. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, item carries.